Pargoal will be our second to last speaker. Pargoal is an alumni of the University of California at Los Angeles and a meteorology major, which I think is awesome because I like meteorology. Very interested in air quality and all throughout the COVID epidemic, just digesting and processing, understanding the most current information about the pandemic, and has managed to bring together COVID and air pollution, and that grounding and training that she has in meteorology is very helpful. And I also want to point out that really been an excellent classmate, and I think we did a practice session about a week ago, and it wasn't a requirement, but she stayed for all 12 presentations and gave excellent feedback and thoughts for everybody. So she cares deeply about climate and about her classmates, and it's really been a pleasure to have her in the program. So Pargoal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Corey. So, hello everyone, my name is Pargoal Arab, and I did my capstone on environmental justice implications of air pollution changes following COVID-19 stay-at-home policies in San Diego County. Here's the outline, so I'll go over the background, the resource question, the methods, results, discussion, and policy recommendations. So the first topic is air pollution. I'll just focus on one particular air pollutant, which is fine particulate matter. It's also known as PM 2.5. So PM 2.5 is tiny airborne particles that have a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets. It's a major health hazard due to the size. So it's 2.5 micrometers or less. So that's smaller than a single hair strand, and even smaller than a red blood cell. So due to the size, it could penetrate to the lungs and eventually into the bloodstream, which can cause respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. It's a unique pollutant because it's a primary pollutant and a secondary pollutant, which means it has many sources. In this study, we'll mainly focus on traffic sources. So luckily, there is air pollution regulation in the US at multiple levels. So at the federal level, there's the Environmental Protection Agency, known as EPA. So it gives standards for certain air pollutants, including PM 2.5. At the state level, there's the California Air Resources Board. So it regulates air pollution coming from mobile sources. Then there's the local level. Well, there's local air districts across California. San Diego County has its own. It focuses on regulating air pollution coming from local sources. So the next topic is environmental injustice. Environmental justice is the principle that everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status, race, and ethnicity, should fairly share both the environmental benefits and the environmental hazards. It further argues that disadvantaged communities should not be exposed to disproportionate environmental hazards such as poor air quality. However, due to historical and current racist and discriminatory policies such as redlining, many of these marginalized communities live in these toxic communities or environments till this day. So the next topic is COVID-19 measures. As you know, COVID-19, a global public health crisis, impacted the world. Many nations tried to respond by setting many policies and measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19, such as having businesses shut down, having mask mandates, enforcing social distancing, and having stay-at-home policies. I'll briefly go over the main COVID-19 policies that occurred in San Diego County. So on March 19, California enforced the stay-at-home policy. Then a couple of months went by, and the restrictions became less. But on July 13, they closed some indoor activities. I will refer this as the summer restrictions. On August 28, there was the Blueprint for a Safer Economy, which allowed many businesses to reopen. On November 21st, there was another stay-at-home policy. This is due to many counties, including San Diego County, being in the purple tail, meaning having high COVID-19 cases. So these policies impacted the economy. The economic activities went down, which led to decline of population mobility and decreases in air pollution level. So as you could see here, before the lockdown, there was a lot of air pollution. However, during the lockdown, there were barely any air pollution. So all these topics lead to my resource question. Will the benefits of the COVID-19 policies and changes in PM 2.5 levels distributed equally across zip codes in San Diego County? So I have two objectives. The first one is to assess and clarify any changes in PM 2.5 in San Diego County during the different stages of the COVID-19 policies. Second objective is to discuss the relationship between PM 2.5 and socioeconomic status indicators across zip codes in the county. Methods. So I got PM 2.5 data from EPA. With this data, I want to calculate the PM 2.5 anomalies. So anomalies are changes from anything that's different from the average. So positive anomalies represent anything above the average, negative anomalies represent anything below the average. So I got PM 2.5 daily concentrations of 2020, and I subtracted it by the weighted average of the past 20 years. Since there were so many COVID-19 policies and measures throughout the year, I divided it into 5 analyses. The first one looks at during the first stay-at-home order. The second one during the summer restrictions. The third one during the second stay-at-home order. The fourth one combines all of them, and the last one is during the wildfire season, mainly September to the beginning of November. Next, I looked at socioeconomic status data from the American Community Survey. I looked at 7 of them, including African Americans, Hispanic Latinos, housing units, income, below poverty level, and education. So I map each of these variables and the PM 2.5 anomalies for analysis on maps to see any spatial variability. So I want to see if it changes throughout different zip codes. I will also do linear regression between each SES variable and PM 2.5 anomalies for analysis to see any significant linear relationship between them, and also calculate the slope and the 90% confidence intervals. Results. So I did the time series. So this is the year 2020. So 1 being week 1. This red line represents the average. So anything above this average is positive anomalies. Anything below this average are negative anomalies. So you could see during the stay-at-home order, the first one, even before it, there were negative anomalies. Then as the restrictions became less, it increased. Then during the wildfire season, so beginning of September, there was a significant increase in positive anomalies. So like I said, I map the anomalies individually. So this is during the first stay-at-home order. So the blue represents negative anomalies. The red represents positive anomalies. So you can see most of the county, mainly Central and South San Diego County, had negative anomalies. So there were less PM 2.5 concentrations below the average. And this is for the rest of the analyses. You could see that most of them were positive anomalies because they were all red. This one is looking at the wildfires. The scale's different. There was no negative anomalies. It doubled because wildfires directly emit PM 2.5 in the air. North San Diego County is the highest. I also mapped the SES variables. I'll only go over some of them due to time, but for the unemployment rate, total South and inland, you could see there's a high percentage or high rate of unemployment. Then with the African American variable, total South, there's a high percentage. especially in this area, ranging from 15 to 23%. For the Hispanic Latinos, towards the south, there's a high percentage, especially in this area, 94%. So this is a linear regression model. So these horizontal lines are the slopes of the SES variables. So each box represents the analysis, so analysis 1. So the main takeaway is, so anything that crosses this vertical line means it does not have a significant relationship with the PM 2.5 anomalies. So you could see most of them cross it. So they do not have a significant linear relationship with the PM 2.5 anomalies. However, for the African American variable, as you could see, it does not cross, so it does have a significant linear relationship with the PM 2.5 anomalies. Then for analysis 2, for the educational variable, it does have a significant relationship, but only for analysis 2. So I'm just going to summarize the main points because I think it's important. So overall, during the first stay-at-home order, there were negative PM 2.5 anomalies. So it means mainly in the south and central San Diego County. So the PM 2.5 concentrations were lower than the average. During the wildfire season, there were extremely high positive PM 2.5 anomalies. Then with the SES variables, mainly South San Diego seems to be the most disadvantaged area with high unemployment rate, high below poverty rate, less education, and low income. In the same area, there's a high percentage of African Americans and Hispanic Latinos. So overall, this does answer my resource question. Not all zip codes experience benefits from the COVID-19 policies. Some experience positive PM 2.5 anomalies. With the linear regression model, the African American variable has a significant inverse relationship with the PM 2.5 anomalies. So what that means is, when the PM 2.5 anomalies increase, the percentage of African Americans decrease. Which is interesting because usually, according to previous literature, it's the other way around. Both of them increase. So it's something unique that I definitely could look into in my future research. I'll briefly go over the policy recommendations. So first, we need stricter air pollution regulation. Then we need clean technologies or anything that emits less air pollution, such as electric cars. Then we need to use the public transportation more or walk more. But we need to consider urban planning into this one because we need to create cities where it's actually feasible to walk everywhere. We have to make sure that there's accessibility of public transportation to everyone everywhere. Basically, we need to create a city where we don't have to rely on our cars. The next one is, it has to do with environmental injustice. So we definitely, when we plan these policies, we definitely need the community's input, the people that are exposed to these air pollution levels. And we definitely need to provide information to them so they know about it and they could fight up against it. So these are my references. These are my photo references. And that's it. I would like to thank my community members and everyone. So thank you.
Excellent job, Pargoal. Thank you so much for that. Any questions from the room?
Good job, Pargoal. This may be out of scope, but did you see any correlation with like the 5 freeway corridor or major, freeway corridors and the increase of PM 2.5? Because you had mentioned South County, and I guess I'm curious, does the impact go along the corridor up even into North County and other areas with different income and demographics?
So That's a great question. I didn't really look at the freeways that are located in different locations. So that's something I'll definitely look more into. If it crosses South San Diego County, it most likely has an impact because something I also found in my research, people that live close to freeways are exposed to air pollution more. So if they live close to the freeway, it definitely impacts the exposure.
Any additional questions?
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, one more. So do you have a hypothesis for that negative correlation between African American and 2.4?
yeah, the only thing I could, this is just me assuming, but even during the population, the part of San Diego County where there were a high percentage, it was only 23%. So my guess is there's not a high percentage of African Americans in San Diego County, and maybe that's a factor. But otherwise, it's something I definitely need to look more into.